It's just suggestion. Okay? Communication is only suggestions. Doesn't matter if you're listening, doesn't matter if you're speaking. Okay? And people get this messed up because they don't understand that they have systems in their body. So you have a conscious mind, which thinks in words and stories. You also have a reptilian brain for your survival and reproduction. And then you also have a nervous system. And that nervous system doesn't communicate on time. It doesn't exist on time. I'm going to show you examples of how this is true, whether you believe it or not. And how, once you understand how the nervous system operates, you can not just learn how to communicate with other people effectively and get them to do what it is that you want them to do on their own accordance, making them feel like it's their idea that feels good. This is where you begin to see that a lot of people who created these methods, maybe they didn't have the best intent. Maybe they didn't want to do positive things. But that doesn't mean we can't leverage this for ourselves. Just because there's people who are taking advantage of people and not helping people doesn't mean that you can't apply these same principles. And so the unconscious mind uses metaphors and structure, emotions and feelings. And not all emotions are feelings, but not all feelings are emotions. And all humans do this one thing, which is a response to what? A feeling. And we all do kinds of weird things to avoid being rejected or to be a part of the group. Okay? And the thing with manifestation, which is the theme of today's training, which is hypnotic influence manifestation, is that, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had it to where you were trying to affirm something and you kept going and you kept going and you kept going, but something kind of in the background was like a quiet voice. It was just like almost a pain, a subtle refrigerator hum of doubt, almost like you're lying to yourself. I'm abundant. I'm wealthy. I'm manifesting millions of dollars. And this small part of you, yeah, it's kind of calm bullshit. Never happened to you? Or does that happen to you?
So,
Go ahead. Go.
can I tell a super brief story? So, when I was like 20, I wanted to get hired at this coin store that wasn't hiring, and I was going to pitch them on a value proposition, and I was going to take over their eBay sales and all this stuff. And the whole drive there, I was saying like, "I'm good enough. I'm good enough. I'm good enough." And the whole time, my entire body was resisting and being like, "Fuck you! You're a worthless piece of shit. You don't deserve it. You're not worthy." And it wasn't a quiet hum in the background. It was like a fight between two titans within my personality. I've never gone through an extended season of practicing affirmations since then, but that's the experience that I can relate that to. So I get what you're saying: the internal resistance, the counter intention.
Yeah. And what's funny is that people, like you hear all this stuff online, quantum leap, manifestation, vibration. How do you raise your vibration? You know, what's this fucking vibration? It's no different from how a lot of people don't even know, like, what is a lead? What is a lead conversion? What's a sale? What's an offer made? What's a conversion? All this stuff, right? Today, we're just going to take a moment to just put all this, strategy tactics to the side to really get under the hood as to not just how you can influence people, but the best way to influence people is to first influence yourself. Okay? This is what we're talking about here. Because spiritually, we are all perfect. Spiritually, there's nothing wrong with you. Spiritually, it's all epic, right? There's abundance everywhere. There's enough for everybody. But for some odd reason, we fail to admit that your results are a byproduct of your behaviors. This is a pragmatic training. This is not Theo getting into the spiritual world. This is how to get what you want. Is that okay? Is that fair? Does that make sense? Now, by the way, notice that when I say, does that make sense? And you believe that, okay, I just got you to believe something, even if that thing doesn't really make sense. And I'm going to show you how to apply these principles just because like this, the moon is made of cheese, that enables you to value things that you want in your life. See that? Now, your unconscious mind just agrees with that, even that if that's not factually true. Your unconscious mind is asking, what does he mean by it? Because the moon is made of cheese. Like, how is that? How could that be real? Like, how could that be true? That's my point. Do you see how it's easy it is to use this for, unethical reasons? To get people to believe things that they otherwise wouldn't understand? Until you understand this trance work, you'll never admit to yourself you're already in a trance. And you'll be frustrated because the rules of the game are already there. It's just that you're not fully aware of them. But that's the secret to success, is to not focus so much on man-made laws, but to focus more on mind-made laws. Man-made laws, to give you a very easy example, is imagine, I want you to just stop and picture you driving down the street on a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit. And if you were to go 80 miles an hour, that's a felony. You get penalized. You get punished. Now, in a second example, take one step further and ask yourself, well, if I were to go 40 miles an hour in a 40 miles an hour speed zone, I don't get punished, do I? Do you? But guess what? You also don't get rewarded. Huh. Fascinating. So that's an example of a man-made law. You only get punished if you don't follow the rules. But by following the rules, you do not get money or validation or some sort of benefit from following the rules. There's no gain on your side. There isn't. Tell me where. In all the man-made laws. So that's why it's important to focus on mind-made laws, because this is where you create your own economy. Who's interested? Raise your hand if you're interested in creating your own economy, where mind-made laws have both punishment and reward. Punishment and reward. This is the law of success. This is called success mapping. Success mapping has, write this down, right versus good. Wrong, contextually, versus bad. How many things in your life feel good to do, but aren't necessarily the right thing to do, the right thing to do may require you to get a bit uncomfortable, to do things that are not familiar to you. Right? Making love 3 times a day feels good, doesn't it? But is that the right thing to do if you expect to make 20K months? Just an example. It's a stupid example, but you get my point. Or what about bad? I want to do the good thing. I don't want to do the bad thing. I want to charge this person for $100 a session because that's the good thing to do, right? Or give the homeless person money, $1,000. That's a good thing to do. You're being a good person. Well, let me ask you a question. Is that the right thing to do? To give a man a fish so he can go buy drugs? Or maybe educate them and invite him into an opportunity to invest at least time or money into becoming the person who deserves the result, which is the right thing to do. I would say that's the right thing to do, but that's not always the good thing. It's not the same thing. Make sense? There's a world where that's maybe hurting that person from their own growth because they haven't faced a point in their life where they've experienced enough pain to change. So you're slowing their transformation, not accelerating. This is why handouts don't work. This is why hiring family members don't work. because they're your friends, because they're your family, they will cut corners because they know they can get away with it compared to if they're not your friends or family. It makes sense? So this is a very dry training, but as you know, the only way for you to do what I'm telling you to do is for you to have a gamified attitude and mentality towards this, for you to step into the childlike wonder, play, and curiosity to test this for yourself. Don't believe me. Test this in your own business, in your own life. Okay? So before we get started, though, do you have any questions? Because I don't think you're ready for this, but I don't think you'll ever be ready. Because I wasn't ready when I learned this.
Hit me.
So in this hypnotic influence training, we're going to go through 5 different processes, 5 different channels. First channel is yin formation. Second channel is color breathing. Third is spinning energy. And fourth is framing. Fifth is symbol impregnation. Does anyone know what all 5 of those mean?
Can you say one again?
Okay. Number 1 is yin formation. It's kind of a play on words, like information, but yin versus yang. Number 2 is color breathing.
Color breeding?
Color breathing, like ha. Number 3 is spinning. spinning. And number 4 is framing. And if anyone sees someone coming in the room, just let me know. Number 4 is framing. Number 5 is symbol impregnating. Symbol impregnating are anchors. Pay attention, guys. Or I think you're writing on the board, right? Symbol impregnating are anchors that connect, okay, feelings to images. Okay? So in other words, symbol impregnating allows your unconscious mind to connect with conscious things. An example of that would be if I were to say, imagine a red cloud of smoke above your head. Okay? The cloud enables you to conceptualize metaphorically, okay, how to structure that so that your unconscious can latch onto that structure. Just remember what I said. Conscious mind connects to stories and words and feelings and emotions. Conscious mind connects to words, stories. Unconscious mind connects to structures, metaphors, feelings, and emotions. And if you've ever done a session with me, you'll know that when we get to the block in your energy field that's stopping you from executing with flow and fun and abundance, it doesn't make any sense. This is why the nervous system, like I said, does not operate on linear time. And before we get into this training and exercise-based aspect for you to how to truly raise your vibration the right way, I have to prove it to you. Okay? So everyone take a deep breath. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes. Okay? This is called the frame game. Okay? Now, I want you to imagine I want you to think about something that you really, 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 okay, really, really, really like. You really enjoy it. Okay? You got the picture in your mind? Nod your head if you have it. Something in your life that you really like. Okay? Now I want you to point to an area of your body where you feel that sensation. And sensation is the language of the nervous system. Okay, now that's with one hand. Now with the other hand, I want you to point. Imagine you can put that image on a frame in front of you, and I want you to point to where spatially that frame is. And while you're pointing at the area of your body. So point in front of you spatially with your other hand as if you could put the fucking picture on a frame in front of you. Point to it right now. Do it now. Stop thinking about it. Just do it. Okay, so now open your eyes and notice how everyone's location, everyone's spatial idea of where they pointed is different. That's how I know your nervous systems are all different. Pretty interesting, right? So now close your eyes again. And I want you to put a frame around that beautiful picture. Okay, of that thing you really like. It's a golden frame. And I want you to reach out and just hold the edges of that frame. And I want you to expand the size of that frame as big as possible. Notice how you feel as you expand that frame. And now I want you to just bring it back to normal size like it was. Now, some of you, if you expand it and the feeling dissipates, all that means is that you've got a slightly different nervous system. You're one of the 30% of society. And when you shrink the size of the frame, the feeling expands. And that doesn't mean that's good or worse. It just means you're different. So most people, when they expand the size, that feeling inside of them expands and elevates and heightens. Does that make sense? Everybody with me? Okay. So bring that frame to normal size again, and I want you to pull it into your body, close to your body. Just close to your body. Notice how you feel now. Notice how that feeling gets stronger. And now I want you to put that picture frame above you as if you're holding a big-ass Frisbee, like a beach towel. Reach it above your hands, and now when you're ready, go ahead and throw that behind you. Just throw it. Just toss it behind you. And open your eyes. Okay? So, one sentence of what that was like for you, because I want to hear from you what that was like. What happened when you brought it bigger, you made it close to you, you maybe pulled it down over you like a cloak. What did that feel like?
Bigger, more intense, smaller, kind of like concentrated, but a little bit less strong. Over the head, the pleasant feeling like moved into my crown chakra. When I threw it away, it dissipated.
Okay, good. Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, I think for me, the widening was like an expansion, a contraction. And then, yeah, it definitely minimized. The feeling got smaller as I brought it in.
That's right. Okay, so now what I'm showing you is how you need to change your state first before you can change others. Before you can influence others, you have to change your own state. Okay? And so notice that have you ever heard it where someone says, like, you hear this all the time, I'm moving through something, or like, if I could just get over this thing.
Yeah.
Maybe you've said that many times, haven't you? And I'm trying to work through this thing, right? And what they're not realizing is that go like this. So that's future focused. All that stuff spatially to your nervous system implies that This is all in front of you. Remember that? And when I do this, now you're in this kind of being paradigm. This is why when you pull the picture closer to you, you start to feel that elevated mood. This is why when you expanded it, you enhance that feeling because it got close. So in other words, your unconscious mind is thinking in metaphors in front of you when you think about the future. This is why so many people get fucking stuck in a have-not paradigm. When I have this, then I can do these things to finally become this person. But the problem is that they're operating from a lower vibration. They're operating from lack. They're operating from scarcity. They're operating from attachment because they don't realize that spatially, like I said, your nervous system doesn't think in time. It doesn't exist on real time. It doesn't. It thinks your nervous system operates through a coding. And when you understand the coding, you can reprogram your literally your whole life. But you have to understand the nature of it to change it. If you don't understand the nature of your nervous system, you're going to be only operating from your head. And you're going to hyper intellectualize decisions, overthink decisions. So when we look at, like, imagine this, right? In front of me, future. If something is here now spatially, this is the present. When I had you throw the frame behind you, notice that it was behind you and the feeling disappeared. And this is how we clear out these energetic blockages and extract the lessons from those painful experiences. You throw it behind you. If you don't throw that behind you, you're going to keep projecting that onto your present moment. You're going to keep projecting that fear into your future. This is why people never take action or don't do it consistently. So I want you to give you an experience of knowing what it feels like to take control of your nervous system so that it doesn't create chaos in your life. Now, how do I know this is pretty much guaranteed to work? Well, because I don't care if you're man or woman, everyone has a mind, a heart, a spirit, and a nervous system. And this, write this down, influence 3 and the letter I. Influence 3, the letter I. I call this influence 3I. So influence 3I stands for identity. Number 1. Number 2, intelligence. And influence. I'm going to show you what this looks like. Bam. Okay. So check this out. This is crazy. So okay. So as you can see, can you guys see this or no? Yes? Okay. So everybody knows, oh, my identity. I get to change myself, to change my habits, to change my reality. I get it. I want to influence others. That's what they say. But intelligence, guys, pay attention. Intelligence is the fusion between identity and influence. Intelligence is not smart. Intelligent is not IQ. Intelligence is neither of those. It is your ability to resource information. Does that make sense? So if I know you better than you know me, I can influence you. And this is something a lot of people get scared to know. If I know you better than you know me, I can influence you. And the quote goes, if I know you better than you know yourself, I can control you. That's scary. That's terrifying. Okay? This is why you get frustrated when you learn from someone you admire, a guru, and you're still kind of not quite moving forward because they already know what's happening. They already know the rules. So in other words, people are constantly projecting. So in selling, leadership, marketing, the person will tell you everything you need to know for them to do what you want them to do and feel good about it. And the truth is that attractive people get more stuff. I want you to love your voice. I want you to love your body. I want you to love your face. I want you to love yourself. Oh shit, my TV just magically turned on. Hold on a second. That was crazy, bro. Wait, hold on a second. Sorry, guys, 1 second. So best right for the rest of your life. And then go to bed. Turn this TV on. It's a brand new power saver. Can't afford it. We can't afford it, honey. All right, guys, 1 sec. That was so fucking weird. I said, love yourself. And then it went on to this like weird holiday movie. Anyways, guys, moving right along. Where was I? Can someone remind me? Oh, yeah. Attractive people get more stuff. So it doesn't mean like sexually attractive necessarily. So based on the areas you'll be operating, this identity has to be strong enough. Okay? It has to be strong enough in relation to how you're aesthetically presenting yourself to the world. You ever notice someone who's kind of like wearing cool clothes, but they don't have a strong sense of who they are, a strong personality, and the clothes end up wearing them? I know they just look weird. This is what I mean. Okay? So when we do this, here's the thing. People use this type of language and they often get caught because if you do NLP hypnosis and you know that I do it, you're going to be hyper vigilant and skeptical of what it is that I'm doing for you. And you're going to point out all the things that you think I'm doing. This is why we operate from a stealth level so that we understand how to have this kind of red herring effect. This is very covert, but everything I'm saying is it's already happening for you. It's already been happening since the day you signed up in my program. But I'm going to show you how you apply this. So write this down. Stealth equals strategic suggestion. Strategic suggestion through stands for T, stands for through. E stands for easily. A stands for applied. L stands for linguistically. T stands for triggered. H stands for hypnosis. So all together, say this out loud so you remember it. Strategic suggestion through easily applied, linguistically triggered hypnosis. Now, the beautiful thing about this framework is that this is going to prevent you from sounding weird, from being creepy, or from sounding very confusing. People get very caught up in these NLP strategies that it's just not applicable to real conversations. It's not applicable to the real world. It seems too experty. You know how, like, if you're feeling and sounding a little too intelligent, you become very unrelatable. This is what this prevents, okay? Okay. So write this down. Descriptors family. I want to write this for you so it's easy. This is going to apply to how you communicate. Adverb, adjective. Awareness. Spatial. Temporal. Now, in case you didn't realize this, all the best marketers are basically genius hypnotists. So you're welcome. Now you know. If you don't know, now you know. Now draw a line under all of these words and write this down. Beliefs and perceptions. Cause and effect. And then in parentheses, write because causes makes allows so or since, right? Okay. Or you can also say can. Okay. And then this is called complex equivalence. We'll get to that in a second. Oh my God, my spelling is atrocious. Or my writing is atrocious. And we have direct commands. And then underneath this list, okay, of two families, right? I want to show you this, right? So we have a box, this one, and then we also have this one. Make it a little bit thicker for you. Okay. Can you see that? This is the criteria. The cool thing about what I'm teaching you is that this is called context independent. You know how a lot of people, when they try to understand what others are saying, they ask you a question. Well, what do you mean by that? Or like, how so? How is that connected to the subject that we're talking about? What the person is asking for is, could you just provide a little bit more context? Make sense? But the cool thing about this type of languaging is that it goes underneath context. Because we're wrapping the second group inside of the first group. This is why you bought what you bought. Whether you know why, it doesn't matter. Okay? Let me ask you a question. Okay, someone volunteer. Someone give me just tell me anything that you believe. No judgment. Okay? Who wants to go? Just anything.
I believe in general, most people intend to do good.
Okay, so write that out. I believe that most people intend to do good. When you're done with that, let me know.
Okay.
Then write because, and then fill in the blank. I believe that most people intend to do good because what? According to you. Tell me why. Tell me why you believe that.
I believe they're children of God, and I think all people want praise and to do better. I think they intend to do good because they are good underneath all the crap. May come out wrong, but
You're describing the same thing, but like tell me why, like when you say, oh, I believe that most people intend to do good. Okay, why is that? This is huge. Why? Why do you believe that? Because why? Because
we're overall good-natured souls.
what does that mean?
I think God created us with the potential to have pure hearts.
Okay. Right? Fine. Okay. Fair enough. And what does that do for the world? What does that do? What does that create?
That they intend to do good.
Yeah, the fact that you believe that people intend to do good, what does that lead to?
I think it leads to grace and more understanding of others.
Okay. Fair enough. So, what did we just find out? That Andrea's core value is understanding and grace. Why is that? Well, it's because her first descriptor was that all people intend to do good. Okay? That was her criteria. And then I asked her what is the effect of that cause. This is how we sort out what someone's values are. I'm going to show you why this is important to everything in business, because money's not real. Did you know that? I'm going to ask you a few questions around what you think is money. And that a lot of lies have been told to you about what it actually is. But first, we need to understand what drives people so we can understand what they fucking value. Everyone values different things. What is value? Even that is subjective. Okay? So in Andrea's worldview, when I ask her to say, well, then, okay, if all people intend to do good, and I ask her, well, what do you mean? Like, because why is that important to you? Oh, so that, there's more grace and people, there can be more understanding. Isn't that right? Is that accurate?
Mhm.
I'm not trying to, but so when you understand that about people, now you understand the exact direct command that they respond to. Okay. So the way you get someone into a trance is you have to realize that breaking someone out of a trance with like, oh my God, by the way, oh my God, wait, hold on a second. Wait, stop. Whoa, wait. Hold on a second. That's how you break someone out of a trance that they're already in. The way you put someone into a trance is by initiating a story. Oh, I remember that time. Or it reminds me of this. Or I had this happened just now or just today. The moment you put someone into a trance with a story is the moment they're in your frame, basically. And because I know that Andrea values the highest grace, understanding, it's just another form of connection. I understand how to communicate and use words, use linguistics to insert what I have to offer so that what? It ultimately allows her to get, I can command her to experience or to have or to get or to receive understanding and the benefits in the real world that come from that understanding. This is what it means to follow the process of this, to trust the process of this. And then I could finish the story. But she didn't even notice what was happening. I was telling a story. She was in trance. I inserted direct commands for her to get understanding between her and other people so that she could get what she actually values, to be understood or to have understanding and to have grace. And then I could just finish the story. And her unconscious mind knows exactly what to do now because I programmed it, but she didn't even notice because I was in the channel of storytelling. Does that make sense? You want to know why you're struggling with this? Because your conscious mind is processing. Okay? Your conscious mind is processing the words I'm saying. But your unconscious mind is trying to figure out why what I'm saying might be true. Even if it doesn't make any sense. Okay? This requires you to become more flexible in how you behave with sensory acuity. Okay? Because if it makes sense to your audience and you ask them, does this make sense? Then it's unconsciously accepted. Even if they're trying to be like, what, like, I'm confused. What is, like, how is that true? I could say
So
like,
what you saying, as long as I agree that it makes sense, then my subconscious has accepted it and understands it.
yes,
Is that
because
what you're saying?
yes, because you're telling me something that you believe. Like all people want to do good. When I ask you because and have you say what's next, when you say like what that is, you're informing your spatial awareness. You're basically informing how you make sense of reality. But the truth is that there's no such thing as reality. They're all just projections. Because what you really actually are moving towards is what you want. Remember what I said? All people do things in response to a feeling. And so the actual two-step process is that your brain, your mind is either moving away from something that you don't want to feel or towards something that you want to feel, that you want to feel more of. Okay. So if I know you want to feel more of grace, ease, and I know you want to feel more understanding in your world, then I could insert a direct command by saying, hey, because you're sitting in this chair, that enables you to gain the most understanding, the most grace and value. Does that make sense? See how she's nodding?
Yes.
But guess what? That doesn't make any sense. Like I just said, because you're sitting in this chair, it enables you to get the. But that's meaningless. You see how you were in a trance just right there, but you didn't even know it. Break out of the trance, snap out of it. See what I'm saying? That's how powerful this work is. Because if you really zoom out, all I said was because you're sitting in a chair, that enables you to get the most understanding. You're like, oh yeah. Yeah, just fucking sitting in a chair. If you just sit in a chair your whole life, you're fucked. You won't change your life, right? But because I said that, and I knew that you were in a trance because I was through the power of storytelling and I was direct commanding you based on your process, I was jumping into your process. I was jumping into your values and your process. Okay? So I'll show you how this works, okay? Do this, ready? This is how you're going to do this yourself. Okay, because obviously it's important for you to know how to do this for yourself. Control your state. Get rapport. Use your language. Manage their state. And then in the middle, I'm just going to write jump into their process. Process and link to their what? Criteria and values. Control your state. Get rapport, which is, okay, connecting either on shared pain or common ground. Number 3 is use your language. Number 4 is manage their state. Number 5 is jump into their process and link to their criteria and values. Can you see that? Now, here's the crazy part. Before any of this takes place, guys, you have got to know your clear outcome that you want. Does that make sense? This is why so many people fucking never get results, or it takes them 10 times the amount of time to get the result because they don't even know their own outcome. So they're only operating at the 5% conscious level to try to get money, to try to get girls, to try to get a date, to try to get a body, to try to get anything in the real world, because they don't even know clearly what it is that they want and why that's important to them, because they don't even know themselves. They don't even know what this place is. This is a world of alchemy. And until you accept the way the world is and you know how to operate within the world, of how it operates and universal principle and also human nature, you will be very bitter. And over time, this gets harder for you to change. Because why? Well, it's because you get more reference experiences of confirmation of your biases. This is why old people who stop growing and learning have very crusty brains of rigidity, self-righteousness. Because again, the deletion concept in neuroscience, it's how your brain blots out better things that you could have if you change yourself and you change your behavior. But it's too painful to look at what your reality is and to admit you created it. But the cool thing is that you can change yourself. You can change yourself. But this is why, like, men will watch their wives cheating on them, or vice versa. Wives will watch the men cheating on them, and their brain will pretend like it never happened. Fucking wild, right? It's unconscious. They don't even know they're consciously doing it. So they literally pretend and be in denial. And so, in other words, spiritually, and you want to get a little bit of spiritual, you have to realize, like, before you can forgive, people say, "Oh, I forgive." But before you can forgive, you have to accept. Otherwise, you're just stuffing it down and pretending like it never happened. As a sugary, syrupy euphemism, but you're not doing the work. You're not feeling through the pain. You're not surrendering to what is. So the best way for you to apply this is to start with knowing your outcome and to recognize that you cannot successfully change and influence someone if you don't first change your own state, if you don't first control your state. This is why you need to bring an attitude of play and curiosity to the game of life, at least in the initial phases of engagements. Make sense? This is why we did the state control exercise, to show you this. Now, here's the second exercise. Is this helpful? Is this useful for you? Should I continue on this?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So let's go back to that example where by the way, in order for you to not get caught with this stuff, you have to practice this you versus I versus we. So write that down. You/I/we. See, it's the thing with NLP, the thing with hypnotic language is that so many people who have studied the surface layers of this stuff, they already know what you're doing. But when you switch out the pronoun, it makes it less obvious. So in other words, when I interchange you, I, and we, it's covert. When I say you, you're like, this person's trying to manipulate me. Right? When I say I switch it with I switch you with we. Now they are unconscious to that I'm still talking to them, but I'm framing it as we. I'm framing it as I. And you. Does that make sense?
Yes, an example would be helpful.
Absolutely. I'll pull up my phone. Just go to my fucking Instagram. You'll see it right in plain sight. You see, this is stuff you don't see in plain sight, but it's right in plain sight. I realized after almost 9 years of 3,500 one-on-one executive coaching, private online clients and groups, and nearly a 95% success rate. See, I'm already putting people into a trance and writing the hook, story time. The importance of curating contextual tribes intentionally is one of the best gifts, because you actually quantum leap, shaping your reality predictably to the roots. You'll see many who are lost or forcing and then judge that as wrong. In leadership success mapping, we label these rules as right versus good, wrong versus bad paradigms. But you already know that we all have inherent value, goodness, and an infinite core essence in the quantum field. Notice my tonality. You see that? I'm putting myself into a trance just with my tonality. You already know. But at the same time, research shows us together, We are one. We are connected. That there's a human you where even if you've done all the business programs, all the self-development, all the plant medicine and deep work, yet you forget that you're a byproduct of your behaviors. And what's worked for me is, see, now I'm commanding you to do what it is that I want you to do, but I have already embedded it. I've already embedded it because the action is what? Getting into the right rooms that help to control my mentality with high standards and a clear roadmap that's not one size fits all and not too juicy, aka ethereal. But I'm framing it as me, not you, me. Because if I overdo the you, it makes it seem like I'm kind of shaming you. You, that. And then you disassociate. Just like, fuck, I don't like this feeling. Right? So I'm kind of flexing between you, I, we, okay? And this is what disarms people to open themselves up to experience transformation through content, conversion through content. That's all content is, shifting your perspective and changing your behaviors. That's all it is. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay. And the way that you avoid projecting in your content because you're pissed and you just wish people would buy your stuff is to not make content from a pissed mood. Yeah, if you want to influence people, you've got to start with you, guys. See that? So let's get back to the manifestation. And I want you to practice this, okay? When you say, let's just have you stand up, okay? Let's change your state right now. Woo! Okay. I am now manifesting, making $1 million, earning $1 million a year with zero taxes for the rest of my career. Okay, do that out loud. Or whatever the amount is for you. Whatever would be like a big quantum leap for you. I am now manifesting, I have now manifesting or manifested, past tense, earning $1 million a year in my coaching business. Okay? Tax-free for the rest of my career. Now, let me ask you a question. Was there a part of you that was like, oh, I don't like that feeling? Was there a little subtle feeling of pain or discomfort? Nod your head yes, or shake your head no. It's not true. That wasn't there. Guys, raising your standards brings up your fucking shit. It brings up your fear. It brings up your limiting beliefs. So you want to bring that up. You don't want to stuff it down. You want to do that. Okay, so be honest. Yes, that was a little crunchy, or no, that was like epic. Like,
yes,
instant change.
Uncomfortable.
Okay, what about you, Gladius? What about you, Jesse? What about you watching the replay?
Felt insincere repeating what you suggested, so I'm trying to reframe like what I actually want.
Oh, the
try it with
frame is just I am now manifesting, or I have now manifested, present or past tense, and then you insert the result, and
exactly.
you make that result time bound. So per what? Per month, per year. I am now manifesting X amount result. You could do this in relationships too. You could do this for your body, your health, but you need to commit to one context. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. Manifesting 250,000 a year through Sovereign Mind, tax free, feels good.
Okay, fair enough. Now, just remember what's right versus good, it may not be the same. So what may be the right thing to do is to ask yourself a better question is why is beyond that not okay? Why is that not safe? Because under that is going to be a fear. And under that fear, if that fear were to happen, you're making a meaning about you. I'm going to be criticized. I'm going to be canceled. I'm going to sabotage myself, unhealthy habits, or my family's going to judge me, right? Criticize, right? All that stuff. And then
Yeah, I
you're
understand that increasing the dollar amount can increase the surface area for limiting beliefs to stick.
yeah,
I get that.
the responsibility, right? I'll burn out. I'll be overwhelmed. And if I fail in the overwhelm, that will mean something about me. See that? The problem with most of us is that we haven't questioned why that number is significant. We haven't questioned that. And because you haven't questioned that, is why you play small. But the cool thing is that the instant fix to that is asking yourself out loud, what am I manifesting? And just put your awareness on that area where in the body where you feel that, whew, that tension. You breathe into that. This is what we do in Qi, quantum healing, and hypnosis, is we breathe into that pain to transmute it. Ha, ha, and you breathe it out. And I've helped people overcome chronic disease and illness, eczema, uh, horrible social anxiety, because that pain is in the body and that's a block. So first we have to clear those blocks before we can apply the actions, because then you'll be in resistance. Make sense?
I'm scared to agree to make sense on anything. I'm like, am I on a trance?
Exactly. Because again, there's always going to be a war between your current self and your future self, and that's never going to end, right? So in other words, my intention for you is for you to get what's called quality problems, and to not think that you're ever not going to have problems, but to have better problems. Is that fair? See, I don't need you to believe this. I invite you to trust what I'm leading you through. But that's your choice. That's your gift, as God gave you free will, didn't he? But do you see how, like, now you understand how to stop being so scared to play big? So you have to keep repeating this. Ask yourself, what am I manifesting? And then you reinitiate. I am now manifesting X result in this time. And you do the power physiological pose, right? And how do you test this? We'll leave it at this. How do you test this? You test it by trying to bring that negative feeling back while you feel that state of being. And if it doesn't come back, then it worked. But the truth is that when your physiological state is strong, your psychology cannot keep up with that. When your physiology is embodied, your psychology can't break that. As long as you can hold that feeling for, anywhere from between, 1 to 2 minutes. You'll try hard to bring up that limiting shit, that fear, but it's almost like it can't come back. But if it didn't work, the way that you fix that is you just have to pretend as if it is true. And you have to keep doing it until that feeling is acknowledged through the question and the motion. The fastest way to change your state is to what? Change your physiology. And the people who need to do this the most are the people who have a hard time at pretending, because they've been pretending to be this limited character for such a long time, that they want to stay stuck. They want, because they wouldn't have an ego construct if that wasn't true for them and their own projections. Does it make sense? That's why people have to be willing to change, and you can't force someone to change. But that most people never change. And like I said, you know, you can be in the world, but I would encourage you to not be of the world. Because otherwise you won't believe in something transcendent, and you'll just be asking people for permission to do the things that you want to do and how you want to have it. And that sucks, because you're going to spend a whole lot of your time waiting, and no one's going to tell you. You can do it. But I think most people don't question their own identity, which is why they stay stuck, and they never change their habits of thoughts, words, and actions, which is who you are. Okay, so investing money into yourself is a great way to get leverage on yourself, because it forces you to open yourself up. So I'll leave you with this, guys. The reason why we use our language and manage people's state and jump into their process is because we now know that the whole meta, understanding, the meta means what? Above. It means on top of. The meta lens through which all people create their reality, is either going to move them towards a feeling that they want or away from a feeling they don't want. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
When you understand this, guys, holy shit, it's going to be a lot of fun for you to live in intent rather than chasing goals, to focus on who you're becoming. Okay, here's why this is important, because your brainstem processes, and then generates some sort of physical or metaphorical emotional pain. This is why they did a study, and someone who they hurt themselves physically, they took Tylenol, they felt better. And someone who was constantly rejected socially, they took a Tylenol and they felt better. What? That's crazy. The fuck, man? So, in other words, like I said, your brainstem doesn't know, your nervous system doesn't know the difference between physical pain and emotional pain. This is why when as a child, you become your mommy and daddy, and you think you're you, but you're not. Okay, so this is how we allow ourselves to create from abundance, and how we can apply these principles to be able to influence people's states, but help them to do it on their terms, aka jumping into their process, managing their state. And the best way to the best step when it comes to taking best next steps is to first, like I said, Start with playfulness. Most people are way too fucking serious and they just get stuck. And then because they judge that, they're in a paradigm that creates more stuckness. And then they get into a downward spiral until it's become so bad that now they can't even afford to invest in themselves when they could have. They chose not to. And the secret to success in applying this is being the first one to call out cynically against people who behave in an unethical, out of integrity way to beat people to the punch. Oh, what does this person try to do to me? Oh, shit, I'm skeptical. Does that make sense? You notice that about when I like communicate and I sense that there's a part of you that's like, I don't want to, get into too deep with Theo. I know how to disarm you. I know how to call out that stuff so that you understand what I'm doing. Okay, because again, a certain number of repetitions has to take place for you guys before this change really does lock in, and you have to keep doing it until you can't go back. That's how you test this stuff. I don't expect you guys to believe this stuff. I expect you to just fucking apply it and see what happens for yourself, and you'll realize what actually is facts. Okay. All you do is just test it by trying to get back to that shitty feeling. Okay, so stand up. We're going to end with this. Stand up, close your eyes, and imagine a massive sphere of that color of healing, purification, abundance, energy. That sphere of color, this ball of energy begins to expand. And it wraps itself like smoke all around you and protecting you from loss of abundance, flooding your mind, flooding your body in spirit. And no force can take it away, even if you wanted it to. Anything that is not in harmony with your highest, most infinite self is purged. No need to make it happen any faster. You are installed with this, and these nerves respond to these instructions, and the DNA cells are being encoded with the codes that are already there, turning every cell into your body with light, a manifesting machine, taking a step into that pillar. I want you to zoom that closer and deeper and more pleasurable, more tingly sensations as you breathe in and you breathe out. Zooming into this reality, this is flying into your body, fills with this, and all of this is sealed within you. It is all just flowing through you, and it is so firm in your nervous system, cannot leak out. And I want you to just allow that color to permeate your body. And so it is. And this unconscious mind is now sending out that you really believe that you deserve what it is that you want. And you are able to effortlessly take action from this powerful self-concept. Because you know that everything humans do is in response to a feeling, in response to what they want more of or less of. And it doesn't matter what the context is. Doesn't matter. This is the study of subjective experience, of how people create things, how they manage things, how they change things, and how they communicate it, not just externally, but internally with themselves. So think of something that makes you feel really good. And I want you to just allow yourself to experience the structure of this, the emotion, the feeling, and recognize that you are a trance machine. You are a meaning-making machine. And as you change your consciousness, this changes the meanings from which you operate by, as you are now aware of your present state, you're aware of others' state, you're aware of their desired state, you're now aware of where they are and where do you want them to be. So it's not about what happened to you. It's about how you recorded it and how you related to that recording. Nod your head if that makes sense. It's not about what happened to you. It's about how you recorded it and also how you relate to that recording. Okay? So we're anchoring these meta programs, and these meta programs are not beliefs. They're just filters. And meta just means higher perspective. What's their mood? What are they moving towards? And what away from what? What do they like? What do they not like? And we just have to become aware of how their system is processing something so that you can create more leverage. And this is not in real time. I want you to remember that victory. And I want you to feel it. I want you to sense it. Remember how you were standing. Remember how you were breathing. I want you to stay fully immersed in that feeling and that vibration throughout the day without changing or anything or breathing and trying to feel bad. Notice how that can't come back because of your physiology, because of your posture. Okay? Open your eyes. This is greatness, right? This is what pure success feels like. Make sense? This is what releasing being a product and adopting being a process. See that? And as you continue to repeat the process, that alchemical becoming becomes the outcome. And then all of a sudden, you just start to effortlessly, strongly believe that in your identity. Because why? Was because you are now the director of this movie. And you have an antagonist. And you also have protagonists. You have other people in your movie who are playing certain roles in your life. But what most people struggle with is forgetting that they're not the antagonist, but that they're the director who's giving these people roles in their reality. Make sense? So if you haven't been quite vibing with, your character, you might want to adopt some different characteristics, some different attributes. And some of those useful ones for both men and women, superheroes, is number one, dominance. Number one, adventurous. Number two, adventurous. Number three, a little bit cynical. Number four, resistance. Or relentless, I mean. Okay? And number five, strong. Number six, humorous. Number seven, mysterious. If you look at any main movie character, I don't care if you're looking at Jack Sparrow, Austin Powers, fucking Indiana Jones, Batman, all these people have different volumes of those characteristics. And if you want to write them down, just go back on the recording and watch this whole thing, because I can promise you, you're going to mentally deeply understand this. Right today was meant for you to understand this on a nervous system level, beyond mental understanding, but somatic understanding. Crazy shit, right? If you were here in person, you wake up and you get the boom defibrillator, bah, explosion, right? Expansion. Not from out here, but from within, okay? And we just begin to just reprogram all this stuff, right? Even my analog expressions are manipulating you to help you to associate greatness with me, to associate greatness with the nonverbals, the sub-communication. You ever notice that? Tony Robbins steps on stage, he's like, everybody, the best in the world. You ever think about somebody like Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio or the Buddha, Buddha, and all of us hypnotists and NLPers, coaches are like, we know what he's doing. It's a law of analog association. So it doesn't matter what he's saying, what he's insinuating is
Me.
Eckhart Tolle is amazing, isn't he? Isn't he? And whenever I give these trainings to people who don't know this stuff, everyone dies laughing because we all know what he's doing. But most people don't.
Yeah.
And then you see heads. Ooh, they run to the back of the room and they pull out their credit card and they just throw money. Bah, bah, bah. That's what's happening. Anyways, guys. Okay, don't forget to have fun with this, okay? Enjoy this. Enjoy this. All right. All right. Post your takeaways in the WhatsApp today, okay? By end of day. We shall see you soon. All right. All right, guys.